What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Adventure Outpost. I know you've been patiently waiting the next weekly report. You've been like, where has it been? I know you're dying for it. Well, sometimes life gets in the way, young travelers. I have an exciting life outside of doing YouTube videos. I had a concert this past Monday to go to, so I did not get to do this video for Mondays like I'd like to. I had work and then went right to a concert. So, sometimes you just got to go out and you got to live life. But we're here now and we're rocking it now. I'm going to give you all the goods. We got the movies, we got the books, we got the posters, we got everything that you could want to see. And we'll dive right into it, right into the movies. I only picked up one movie last week. Oh, dog's running wild. You getting ready to do it? You going wild? My dog's going wild. Well, we're starting it off from last week. That was the one pickup that I got, and that was Spider-Man. There she goes. Spider-Man No Way Home. This was the only pickup I got that last week. I had pre-ordered the Walmart exclusive, and then of course the day of, Walmart was like, psych, we didn't get any of that shit. And they canceled my order, so I had to just go and get the regular Best Buy one. This one's fine though. I don't have a problem with having it. I wasn't like I love the movie, but I'm not like enamored with it like most Marvel people are. So I'm okay with having that cover of it. Then we had Kino Lorber was doing its Kino Lorber March into April sale. So I picked up a bunch of titles that I've been looking to get from Kino Lorber. And we're just going to run through them real quick. We got this awesome Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy. It was a really good fucking movie. I actually saw this movie when I was in film school. We got to go to the premiere in the city for it. It was really awesome. This movie is really fucking good. Then we got FX and FX2. I've only seen the first one. It was a solid action movie. Still have to check out the next one. We got The Great Eastern Promises, another really good fucking movie right there. A movie that I have yet to see, but I wanted to get because I love the cover and it looks interesting to me. And I'm trying to collect every movie that was theatrically released from the year that I was born, which is 1989. So we've got Deep Star 6. I really like this cover though. It's freaking awesome. And then we got this movie with Tommy Lee Jones and Linda Hamilton, Black Moon Rising. That's a movie I've been trying to watch for a while now, so I'm glad I got to add that one in there. And then finally, one of my favorite movies of all time, The Apartment. Billy Wilder, absolute legend. If you haven't seen this movie, see this movie now. And then as for what came out yesterday, we picked up, this is a movie, I was waiting for this for a long time. I never thought this would actually get a 4K release, let alone a Steelbook Collector's Edition, but I'm really fucking happy it did, and that is Heavy Metal. This movie is fucking bananas wild. So over the top, so silly. I'm sure most people only know this from the South Park episode, but this movie is legit. It is a fucking trip. And the soundtrack is absolutely insane. Sammy Hagar's Heavy Metal and Don Felder's Taking a Ride. Fucking two of the best, heavy metal songs ever written. Just so fucking good. We got Jackass Forever, the classic. Fucking love this movie. And then, of course, like everyone else, got to keep doing the Lionsgate Steelbooks because they just come out and they're so fucking good. And that is The Cabin in the Woods, that as you pull it out, you get this really awesome fucking cover. This movie, I love this movie too. To get an awesome steelbook for it is amazing. I can't wait to see what the next Lionsgate steelbook is because they're just fucking crushing the game right now in the steelbook collector's editions. I don't even know what comes out next week. All right, we just did the look, and that's what. So next week, it's pretty solid. We got that awesome. I forgot Lionsgate's hitting again next week with that Moonfall steelbook. That looks fucking incredible. You can say what you want about the movie. The movie is absolutely stupid, but it's insanely entertaining. But that steelbook is legit. Then we get Licorice Pizza. Looks fucking awe. I love that movie. It's a shame that we're not really getting a 4K version of it, but that is what it is. And then we're getting that awesome steelbook for Singing in the Rain, which is a classic movie that I actually still have yet to see. So I think I'm finally going to have to dive into it and watch it this time when I get that awesome steelbook. Hopefully the steelbook is in stores and we can get that steelbook. Because I'm not much of a person I don't pre-order stuff. I'm not really a pre-order kind of guy. So I just leave it up to the gods and hopefully that they're in my favor and I'll be able to pick up that movie next week. But now we move onward to our books. Books, it was a light week. I had a lot going on with life and doing stuff, so I didn't really get a chance to read as much as I wanted to. I wanted to knock out The Bourne Identity, The Dead Zone, and get on to General's Daughter. got a third of that. I read The Bourne Identity, the entire book. This book is really fucking good, and I can never watch the movie again anymore, because I watched the movie right after I finished this book, and the movie is dog shit compared to the book. I can't believe that they just let them absolutely massacre this book. They really only keep the core idea that he is a spy who has amnesia, and they get rid of everything else in the book. It's like, it's sacrilegious. I don't know how book fans weren't up in arms about that. It's just, it blows my mind. And I didn't actually even get to the Dead Zone or The General's Daughter, because I liked The Bourne Identity so much that I had to start reading The Bourne Supremacy. I'm about halfway through in this book, and it's making me even more mad because the plot of this book is so fucking good. But since they changed everything in The Bourne Identity, the only thing that they were able to keep for the second movie was the title. So the movie is completely different than this book. And it pisses me off so much because this book isn't... I hate writers and directors who want to adapt books and then decide that they're just going to get rid of whatever they don't like and they want to make it their own fucking story. Like, you're not going to write better than the book. Like, you think you're better than Robert Ludlum? Like, I don't think so. Like, it blows my mind when I was reading about The Bourne Identity, how the director hired the writer to adapt the book, gave him liner notes, told him not to read the book, and then to write the screenplay. Like, unfucking real. Unreal. It pisses me off so much. That's my grind my gears for today. So I'm going to finish The Bourne Supremacy this week and then dive into hopefully Dead Zone and General's Daughter. I might actually not get into that because I might have to actually read The Bourne Ultimatum right after this because, you know, I can't help myself, and I'll have to finish out the trilogy and then see how much they fucking ruined The Bourne Ultimatum also in movie form. So that's what I'm going to be reading for this upcoming week. And then as far as book pickups for this week, I hit my lovely thrift store that I go to for some used books. Every book there is the highest you'll find is $3.99. Hardcovers $3.99, soft covers, paperbacks $2.99. Fucking great deals. So we picked up some good stuff this week that they had. I managed to get The Bourne Ultimatum, finally found it. I didn't want to I found it last time, but it had the movie cover on it. And I really don't want the movie cover versions of these books. Like this one for The Bourne Supremacy, this is the original first pressing. Like, that's the cover for it. And the cover for Ultimatum is like that also. So I've been trying to find that one, but couldn't find it anywhere. But I wanted this book so that I could read it once I finished Supremacy. So I picked up this. I think it's like a second pressing or whatnot. Like, it's not the movie cover, but it's definitely not as pressing as the first cover. Let's see if we can find it on here. If it shows what fucking pressing this is. Yeah, so this cover art came out in 2004. But it doesn't say what pressing it is. It just says that the cover art was 2004. So this is the year that the Bourne Supremacy movie came out. They released this cover art. So they probably released all three of them in this cover art. Yeah. I'm going to read it. I'm going to keep looking for the first pressing somewhere. Hopefully come across it in another used bookstore or something. That would be awesome. But I found another one of his books called The Road to Omaha. I'm going to check that out at some point. I think this is actually a sequel to a different book, so I might have to find the first book. Like it says, yeah, The Road to Gandolfo is the first one of these, so I'm going to have to track that one down before I can read that one, because you don't want to read your books out of order. I picked up another Tom Clancy book, The Sum of All Fears. I have yet to see the movie The Sum of All Fears, and I was gonna, now that I found this book, I was like, I'll read the book and then watch the movie, but I can already tell that the movie's gonna be such dog shit, because it's like, I think the movie's only like 100 minutes, but if you look, this book is almost 1,000 pages. So I can only imagine how much bullshit they cut out to try and make that movie work and be under 2 minutes, under 2 hours. I can't believe how insulting it probably will be, because I'm sure this book is fucking wild. I've only read one Tom Clancy book, The Bear and the Dragon, so I definitely want to pick up more of his to read, because his books, while some of his jargon that he talks about, like mechanically and everything, and like militarily, is just sometimes way too dense for his own good, like where he can cut a lot of that shit down, he does write some really fucking good action and political thrillers, so I definitely want to read some more of his stuff. I picked up The Black Phone Stories, is a collection of short stories by Joe Hill, which is, I believe, he's Stephen King's son. I picked this up because The Black Phone comes out in June, and I definitely wanted to read the short story before it comes out. I wish this is another one where it's like I didn't want the movie cover version of it. I wanted, because this isn't even called The Black Phone Stories. They just did that to coincide with the movie to try and sell books. This is really released as something called 20th Century Ghosts. And I really would have liked that cover art, but when you're picking up something for $2.99 to read, you can't really complain too much. So I'll keep an eye out to get the original one, hopefully somewhere down the line. But I'm definitely going to be reading that soon. Probably next. I want to save it until it's close to the movie coming out. The movie comes out at the end of June, so I've got some time before I really have to read that. Especially since it's only a short story, it should only take me like an afternoon to read. So I'm going to save that till we get closer to the movie coming out. And then last but not least, I picked up LA Confidential. The movie is one of my favorite movies that I've ever seen. I fucking love it. So naturally, when I found this, it was like, oh man, I definitely have to fucking read this. This is another one where, you don't really want movie covers, which is weird because I don't think this was ever a movie poster. Like, this looks like just a regular cover art for the book, but then on the back they have the cast and everything for what the movie is. So it's like a weird mixture. Obviously this book has been banged up to all hell by whoever brought it to the fucking thrift store. But again, when you're getting a book for like $2.99, you can't really complain too much. So I'm looking forward to diving into that book. I imagine, books are always better than the movies. So I'm hoping that this book lives up to the movie, because the movie is fucking incredible. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. So hopefully the book only helps accentuate that and doesn't ruin the movie for me, like so many book adaptations do. And poster-wise, I'm going to have to scooch over so we can do it. I only picked up one poster for this week. I've yet to see the movie yet, though, but it is for our lovely, fantastic beast, The Secrets of Dumbledore. I haven't seen the movie yet. I'm probably going to see it tonight, possibly, maybe tomorrow or sometime. I do have to get to it because there's so much good stuff coming out this weekend that I need to see that I really can't waste time watching Fantastic Beasts. Because you got The Northman this weekend and we got The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. And those are two movies that I need to see immediately. So those ones take precedent this weekend. So I got to try and see this piece of crap tonight before we get to that good stuff this weekend. So hopefully we'll see it tonight. This past week I watched a pretty decent amount of new movies. Finally got around to them. We watched Morbius, which was god-awful piece of crap. I call it Father Stew, which is a less piece of crap than Morbius, but still really not that good. We caught Metal Lords on Netflix, which was the new Netflix movie about the two high schoolers that want to start a heavy metal band. It has its moments. It's fine. It's not the worst thing in the world that you've seen, but it's not particularly rewatchable or anything like that. It's one of those, like, you watched it, you're done, now it's fine. Let's move on, forget about it. I showed my girlfriend, my fiance, my girlfriend, my lady, my liege. I showed her The Shawshank Redemption. Absolute powerhouse movie, one of my favorite movies of all time. She loved it. It was a great movie. And then we went and saw together this past weekend my favorite movie of the entire year so far. It might even be my favorite movie of all of last year also. It beat everything I've seen in like the last 2 years. And that is Everything Everywhere All at Once. Movie was absolutely unreal, incredible. It was one of the best movies. It's easily going to go into my top 100, no questions asked. If you haven't seen that movie, you need to get to a theater and watch that movie immediately. The less I tell you about it, the better. That is a movie that you should go in knowing barely anything about it. It is fucking incredible. I dare any other multiverse movie coming out this year to even hold a candle to that movie. Doctor Strange, you don't stand a chance. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, you stand a chance, but I still don't think you're going to reach those heights. And The Flash, get out of here, man. You're done. Flash is done. Fucking Ezra Miller, piece of crap. And then I watched yesterday a nice 80s classic, Mr. Mom, with Michael Keaton. It was a silly little 80s comedy. It had its moments. It was pretty funny for the most part. Nothing too spectacular, but it was a solid 80s movie. And then last night, me and the missus went to the theater and we caught Ambulance, which was an absolute mind-numbingly stupid movie. Super entertaining. Very, very entertaining. Yaya and Jake are both two fantastic actors. They really help sell the movie. Eliza I forget what her last name is, but the paramedic in the movie, she's really fucking good in it too. All three of them, they really help carry that movie and make it better than it has any right being. Like, that's a movie with the wrong people in the role. It's fucking torturous, and it still is, because it's way too long. Like, there's no reason for that movie to be 150 minutes. Like, it's like absolutely not. Fucking shave that down. That's a 2 hour movie. That's barely a 2 hour movie. But it's very silly. The dialogue is fucking atrocious. But it's Michael Bay. You're not there for dialogue. You're there for action. I think the biggest sin the movie makes is that it's directed by Michael Bay, and the characters in the movie reference the movie The Rock, which is another movie directed by Michael Bay, which is just feels to be like the biggest self-congratulatory jerk-off thing you could ever do. Like, you referenced your own movie in a movie. Like, really, dude? Really? It's when that happened, it took me forever to get back into the movie, because it was all I could think about for like the next 20 minutes, and I would just crack up laughing every time I thought about it, because I was like, the fucking cojones on this guy. Super silly, super silly. But yeah, like I said, for this weekend, Northman, Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent is a must. Gonna catch Fantastic Beasts. Probably catch that shitty animated movie that's coming out, The Bad Guys. And then I'm going to continue into my 80s fixation of watching as many of the 80s movies as I can, because I want to make a video all about every 80s movie for the decade that was fucking great. I'm going to make a big ass fucking video just ranking every fucking 80s movie. So hopefully we'll get to that somewhere down the line if I could bang out enough 80s movies. But that's everything that I watched. Last but not least, certainly what your eyes are always here for is, TJ, what are you writing right now? What are you working on? I finished the second short story in my Teenage Wasteland book that I'm working on. So I'm about to dive in. I'm doing prep work for how I want the third short story to go. So prep work is basically writing out all the scenes without dialogue, basically how I want each scene to start, and then where the characters will end in each scene to propel it through to the end. I've got the story, I've got the beats. I just got to put it down onto paper so that then I can start turning it into the book form and add the dialogue. So that's what I'm probably going to be working on the next 2 weeks. This one, usually the last two I was able to bang through quickly because I had already written them in script form, because the second short story was actually the pilot for when I wanted this as a TV show. Well, I still do want it as a TV show, but when I was working on it for the TV show, that was the pilot. So really I didn't have to change much when I'm changing it to book form. I'm just taking it from what was written as a screenplay and turning it into book form. And the same thing goes for the first short story, which was basically when I was writing Teenage Wasteland as a movie. That was so then I was able to just take that movie format and just transfer that over into book format. So that didn't take as much prep work because I already had everything there. All I had to do was write it out in a third person narrative. So now for this one, this is the first one I'm going to have to do from scratch. So that one's going to take a little bit longer, but it's moving swimmingly. It's one of those ones where, for all the short stories that I want to tell in the book, I already have the general idea of what I want for the episode to be about. So really all I'm doing is just having to plot it out and then add dialogue and then write it out in book form. So that's where right now I'm at the process where we're writing it right now, beat by beat. While I do those, I also have to watch movies that will coincide with how the book is. Because the way that I write them is the book, however you want to call it, Teenage Wasteland, is a love story to me growing up with my friends and all the silly shit that we would get into and all the movies I grew up on. So while you have all these silly plot lines of what these kids got up to in high school in 2004 to 2007, the last generation before smartphones, before all that stuff, and you just had to go out and get into trouble, a lot of stuff will follow beats and have Easter eggs from movies. So I have to watch, anytime I come up, I don't just be like, I have to reference this episode in this show, or reference this movie in this part. It's basically I'll come up with a thread for what I want the story to be like. And then whatever that is, I beat it out. And then once all the beats are in place, I'll go in there and look, and I'll see, like, let's say, the opening scene is a group scene of all of them, drinking in a field. And I'll be like, all right, what are the movies in there that I could watch from around my time that I grew up on that had drinking in a field. Maybe I'd go to Dazed and Confused, watch Dazed and Confused, see if there's any fun little Easter eggs from Dazed and Confused that I could slip into that scene that will help, add a little bit of flavor to it, and then help make it like a fun process, because as you're reading it or you watch it on TV, however it ends up being finally brought to the people, it adds rewatchability to it, because not only do you have to pay attention and actually watch it and not be on your phone while you're watching it, you have to watch to see all the Easter eggs that you might miss or catch or not notice. It invites rewatches, because now you got to go back, because let's say you get on the internet and be like, hey, somebody, this right here is a reference to this movie, and then you go back, you watch it again, you're like, oh fuck, look at that. Or you find so many new movies because you're seeing all these Easter eggs, and some of them are very overt. Like they're very, you can see them. Like one of the, I have ones specifically that it's like in every short story or in every episode, there will be a Star Wars reference somewhere and a Lost reference, because those are, my two favorite things that I grew up on. So those you'll find everywhere. And then there'll be ones that are more subtle that you wouldn't really notice. So ones that like it would take you would have to be a very big fan of the movie to catch it. Like one of the characters, when we meet him, he has a poster in his room of Indiana Jones, but instead of Indiana Jones, it's the Howard the Duck version. So if you've seen the movie Howard the Duck, he has a poster in his room of Indiana Jones, but it's Indiana Jones as a duck. So that's like a subtle one that's in there. So unless you've seen that movie or you know about that one, you wouldn't really know. So I'm in that phase right now where I'm beating out the third episode and I'm writing down my movies that I'm going to watch and look where I can sneak references in. So that's where we're at right now for that. That's going to be the next 2 weeks of that, doing all that good stuff. So that's what I'll be doing. But what you'll be doing is you'll be going out and doing whatever the fuck you do. You're going to go watch your movies, read your books, do whatever the hell you do. And I'm going to do whatever I do best, and that is write, watch, read, play, do all my nonsense. And that's what I'm going to do right now. So until the next one, everybody, you have been you, I have been me. We got movies, books, all that stuff that we love. And until next time, adventure on.